In this step, let's take a look at what it's like to gather stakeholder feedback in a prototype using Adobe XD. Here is the share mode. I'm going to go ahead to click on the link. It was created after I published the prototype. It's going to open up a web browser and bring the prototype up for me. Now, as you remember, the onboarding screens of that initial prototype automatically transitioned from one artboard to another. So my client can see that experience even though I am in a web browser. Here on the right-hand side, the client has the ability to come in and add specific comments against the design. So what they first might want to do is actually try to interact with the design. Notice that as I click around, I can include hints with the prototype that let my stakeholder know where they can navigate on the design. So the blue indicate click areas. I can suppress it if, let's say, I'm doing a usability study and I want to figure out if my user can determine how the design actually works. For now, my client has the ability to come on in and skip that onboarding tutorial and start to interact with that second set of the artboards and see what that experience is like. At any time, if they want to get more of a bird's eye view for all of the content in the design, they can click here in the upper left-hand corner on the grid icon. This brings up all the artboards that are included with the prototype. Clicking towards the bottom on any one of these on this little org icon here, I can see any screens that are linked to that primary screen. I can always jump back to the screen by clicking on the thumbnail, which takes me back into the flow. As my client continues to evaluate and look at this content, let's say, they want to start giving me some feedback. What they can do is navigate in the web interface here to one of those artboards, and notice on the right hand side I have a commenting panel here. I can close it if I like, but when I open it up, my client can come in and place a pin on the design. Let's say right here, and add a comment. So they've got a comment for me. When they hit the submit button, that comment is sent to me by way of email. It's also sent as a notification in the Creative Cloud desktop app. Clicking on that notification opens up a web browser for me. Takes me right back to the artboard. When I got that comment and lets me see the comment. Now, as it stands, I'm talking to myself here, so I don't want to be confusing. But I could reply to that comment. I can also mark it as resolved if it's something that I have updated, and republished the prototype. It will retain the comments as part of the history of this commenting workflow. But I can update the design and refresh the same URL without having to start all over again, in essence. I will come into just another artboard or two and add just one or two more comments. Let's say this lovely chair here. And I will submit that second comment. Let's move on to the next step, where we focus on what you can do as a designer once your work has been signed off and you are ready to export it to the development process.